Hey guys, so welcome back. I know that if you watched my last couple of videos or so, somewhere in there I talked about the fact that I was tracking macros again. And if you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen that I am no longer doing that. And I just want to talk a little bit about that decision, why I made that decision, how that transition has been going, and all that kind of stuff. So let's chat. So first I want to talk about why I decided to start tracking macros again. I was kind of in a place where I hadn't been tracking macros in a while. I wasn't really on a strict workout routine, and I was just kind of feeling like a little off. I was feeling unmotivated. I was falling out of love with the gym again. I felt like I didn't really have control over what I was eating. I was just kind of like eating whatever, and I didn't think I was eating right, or I wasn't eating what I should be eating, or I just felt like I needed to switch it up. I've been using macros for a while as a tool to kind of get my eating back on track, or kind of get back into the swing of things, get on a routine, and then I would slowly transition into intuitive eating or just kind of more mindful eating. But I realized that even when I was doing that before, I wasn't ever really like intuitive eating because I didn't truly trust myself. And by that I mean that I never gave myself permission to truly eat whatever I felt like I wanted or needed. I still felt like there were foods that should be off limits and times that should be off limits. And I still felt like there were a lot of things that I was supposed to be doing or that I shouldn't have been doing. And when I would do those things anyways, I would feel a lot of guilt. So even though I feel like I had kind of done intuitive eating in the past, I hadn't really done it. So basically I started to track macros again. I was working with my friend Jillian, and she's amazing. So sweet, so supportive, so knowledgeable. And we worked out my macros, and she gave me a workout program, and I was doing that, and I was like killing it. I was hitting all my macros. I was getting all my workouts in. I was feeling super good. And then like a week in, I went on vacation, and I was feeling so good on my macros and everything and hitting my work. So I was like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go on this trip, hit my macros, do like the best job ever, and keep killing it while I'm on vacation. Fast forward, last day of my vacation, I'm like crying, sobbing because I had just eaten ice cream. Basically, I was kind of like an emotional wreck that whole trip, and I think a lot of it was this pressure I put on myself to hit all my macros and to get my workouts in. And it's hard to be out of town and try to kind of stick to a certain plan, and you know, when you're out of town, not everything goes as planned. And this is my trip to Portland, not my most recent trip I went in. I'll get to that one. But I basically made myself miserable, and I was so stressed out, and I had like such bad food anxiety and guilt associated with not hitting macros or not getting workouts in. I was such a bitch. The first like 2 days of the trip, I was just miserable. I was like a horrible person to be around. And then the last day, I was just like in tears, just so emotional about the most ridiculous things. And I decided like, okay, I'm gonna get ice cream. That'll be like my one treat here that I won't like track for or this or that, and it'll be fine. Well, I ate the ice cream. I felt so horrible about eating the ice cream because I was like, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done that. It was horrible. I feel like, why did I do that? That was so bad. Just like crying because I ate fucking ice cream. So that should have been like the whole story behind it. But I got back home and I kept tracking macros. I kept doing my workouts. I wasn't as strict with them as I had been, and as in I wasn't like only eating the same foods over and over again. I was a little bit more flexible with the foods that I was fitting into my macros, but I was still really I was really kind of just not happy and just miserable, and it was really messing me up. And the end game with macros is basically to lose weight. Or, I mean, you could use macros for any goal, but for me, my macros and my workouts were to lose weight. And I was starting to realize that I was really disconnected from that goal of losing weight, because I kind of don't really care about my weight anymore. I obviously want to stay as healthy as possible and be as happy as possible and be like my most optimal self. But I didn't really have that connection to needing to look a certain way anymore that had dragged me down for so long. And I didn't really have this realization until I ran into a girl in the locker room at the gym. She was taking a selfie in the mirror, and she was getting an after picture because she had this transformation. And I told her, oh yeah, I've lost a lot of weight too. I totally know how that is. It's definitely not easy. And she said, well, I like to think about it this way. You choose your hard. It's hard to eat your food and hit the gym and stick with all these things, but it's also hard to not be happy in your body. And I've heard this saying a lot, and I've kind of always believed it, but my initial thought was, well, why can't I be happy with my body now or at any stage? Why do I need to lose weight or maintain a certain look to be happy with myself? And that just kind of hit me that I no longer need to look a certain way, and I just need to be happy with me and just be my healthiest, happiest self. And macros were no longer a part of that. I think I was using counting macros as a crutch to kind of hold myself accountable to the fact that I don't truly trust myself to know what I should be eating or trust myself enough to intuitively eat. And I realized that I was so much happier before I started tracking macros. I had freedom to eat out with friends and go to social events, and I didn't have to track every single thing. And as soon as I had to start tracking my food and weighing it out and doing all those things again, I just realized that I was so unhappy. And it's one thing if I truly wanted to look a certain way, or if I wanted to do a competition, or if that end goal was something that I was super passionate about, I would have stuck with it. But that wasn't what resonated with me anymore. So I was really nervous and anxious to tell Jillian that I didn't want to do macros anymore, because I kind of, you know, she did this for me, she's put in this work, and I didn't want to let her down, but I kind of had to just do what was best for me and not let myself down. And so as soon as I told her that doing macros wasn't the best thing for me anymore, that I just need to do what's best for me and eat intuitively and exercise intuitively and not stick to a specific plan and just be okay with myself, then I kind of like had this release of, I can do this. And as soon as I gave myself permission to trust myself and to eat intuitively and to do what I needed to do, it was like a flip that was switched. I was just like, it was like I was free. It's the strangest thing. And ever since I made that decision, I have felt so much better. It's like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. I don't have to worry about eating food out or getting certain foods at certain times of day. And of course, I still try to always eat my healthiest. I still want to treat my body right, so I like to fill it with healthy, nutritious foods, but I'm not weighing everything to the gram. I'm not stressing out so much over little things, and I'm able to trust myself a lot more. And I've never had this feeling ever before, and it's just so refreshing. And I truly think that there is definitely a time and place for tracking macros. I think that if you don't know what you're eating, you don't know what's in your food, you have no idea how much you're eating, that it's a good idea to kind of find out, especially if you've struggled with your health or with your weight and you need to have some like statistical data. I think macros is like a really great tool temporarily to kind of see where you're at. And I've learned so much through tracking macros. I've really learned what is in foods. I've learned to look at ingredients. I've looked to see how much sugar in certain things. I look how much to see how much fat and carbs and protein are in everything. So something that I would have thought had like a lot of protein in it really barely has any. And I've learned so much through tracking macros, and I really think that a lot of people could have a lot of value learned through macros as well, but it's not long term. And there's a time and a place for it, and it was no longer serving me, and it had to stop. And now here I am. It's been a few weeks now since I stopped tracking macros, and I've been eating intuitively, and I'm gonna do a whole other video about that. So if you have any questions about it, put it in the comments. And I'm just excited for this new transition that I'm in, and so far it feels really good. So please let me know if you liked this video, if you want to see other videos from me as well. Follow me on Instagram at choosingchelsea. I've been sharing a lot there as well, and a lot more to come. I also have a new Instagram for my hormone journey, and information stuff is going there, and that's Choosing Me Well. So I'll see you guys later.